upbeat, enthusiastic intro fades in and out.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're heading back in time, way back, to the ancient capital of Sri Lanka, Anuradhapura. We're going to uncover the secrets of these absolutely incredible stone bridges. And trust me, these aren't just some old, crumbling ruins. We're talking about masterpieces of engineering that have basically stared down time itself. And the story of how they were built, it's truly remarkable.
I mean, just think about it. When you first see one of these majestic bridges, one question has to pop into your head, right? How? How can a structure built from these massive stone slabs crossing rivers survive for over 2,000 years with literally nothing holding it together? No cement, no mortar, it seems impossible.
And that's the big number here. 0. The amount of mortar or cement used to build them, absolutely none. Not a single drop. And that is the core mystery we're diving into. It's a piece of engineering genius that honestly just completely changes how you think about ancient technology.
So, to really get how these amazing structures were even possible, we've got to travel back. We need to understand the kingdom that dreamed them up in the first place.
All right, so our story kicks off way back in the 3rd century BCE. This is during the reign of a king named Devanapiyatissa. In his booming capital city of Anuradhapura, he launched this huge, ambitious infrastructure project. And the sheer span of time it's mind-boggling. These bridges have been standing right there ever since, watching more than 2 millennia of history go by.
But here's the thing. These weren't just for show. They weren't just pretty monuments. No, they were the essential arteries of the entire kingdom. Their purpose was super practical. It was all about moving people, animals, and all kinds of goods across the many rivers that cut through the landscape. You could say they were basically the highways of their day.
So, that brings us back to the main question. How in the world did they pull this off? How did they achieve this incredible longevity without any of our modern materials? Well, the secret to their apparent immortality, it lies in a brilliant ancient technique. And here it is. The answer is a technique called mortarless masonry. Now, the idea itself is actually pretty simple, almost elegant. But, and this is a big but, pulling it off required some seriously breathtaking skill. See, instead of trying to fight nature with man-made stuff like cement, the builders were way smarter. They decided to work with nature, using the 2 most powerful forces available, gravity and friction. The whole method really boiled down to 3 key steps. First, they had to quarry these gigantic slabs of stone. Second, and listen, this is the really critical part, each and every stone was cut with just unbelievable precision to fit together perfectly, like puzzle pieces. And then finally, these custom-cut pieces were interlocked, creating this super stable, unmovable structure that was held together simply by its own massive weight. And this incredible durability, it wasn't some happy accident. It was completely intentional. The ancient engineers behind this, they knew their environment inside and out. They specifically designed these bridges to stand up to centuries of monsoons, floods, you name it. And you know what? They were right.
So yeah, these structures are way more than just engineering marvels. They are a direct, physical link to our past. So, let's talk about where you can actually go and see them for yourself to experience this magnificence today.
Okay, some of the most famous ones still standing. You've got the Jadevanamral Bridge. You can also visit the beautiful bridge connecting the famous Kutom Pakuna, or Twin Ponds. And then there's the one crossing the Malwathu Oya River near the ancient Abhagiri Vihara Monastery. Each one is its own unique window looking straight into history.
There's a quote from our source material that it really nails it. It says, "These bridges are a lasting tribute to the skill and craftsmanship of those who constructed them." And when you're there, you just can't help but feel that. It's a statement that feels just as powerful and true today as it must have 2,000 years ago. And it's so important to remember, these bridges don't exist in a vacuum. They're a central part of this living, breathing cultural landscape. When you visit, you're literally surrounded by ancient temples, monasteries, and the sacred Bodhi tree. You're just completely immersed in the rich history of this ancient capital.
All this history, it feels so alive. It really makes you want to go see it for yourself, right? Well, the good news is you absolutely can. So if you're feeling inspired to go explore these marvels yourself, let's talk about how you can actually make that trip happen.
Okay, so
Anuradhapura is about 206 kilometers from the capital Colombo. Getting there is pretty straightforward. You can hop on a bus or grab a taxi, and that'll take you about 4 to 5 hours. Or, if you want something a bit more scenic, you can take the train from Colombo Fort Station. That journey is around 5 to 6 hours.
Now, once you're there, here are a few pro tips. First off, the ancient city is huge, so the best way to get around is to either hire a tuk-tuk or rent a bicycle. Also, keep in mind that the bridges aren't all in one spot. They're spread out, so it's a really good idea to plan your itinerary in advance to make sure you can see them all.
So, what's the big lesson here? What should we take away from all of this? Well, the stone bridges of Anuradhapura, they offer more than just a history lesson. They offer a timeless one. They're a powerful reminder that when you work with nature instead of against it, when you use ingenuity, precision, and a deep understanding of its forces, it's possible to create something that can truly, truly last. And that really brings us to our final thought for today. When you look at these structures, almost 2,300 years old, built to endure forever without a lick of our modern technology, it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? It leaves us with this big question. In our constant rush for progress, what timeless, brilliant knowledge from our ancestors have we maybe left behind or even forgotten?
Upbeat outro music swells and fades out.